am doing a video for Paper Issues, part of the design team. Whoop whoop. I am currently trying to put my hair back so it doesn't get in my face. Sorry about that. I'm gonna challenge myself. Not that Danielle's live challenge wasn't challenging enough. If you haven't seen what the live challenge was, she did it live and she asked the Magic 8 Ball what she could or couldn't use. And so for January's live challenge, we have to use alpha thickers, alpha stickers, ephemera, and puffy stickers, and we cannot use stamps or Miss/Nuvo. So I always use Nuvo, or a lot of times I use Nuvo or Miss, so I'm just like, because I'm kind of combining it with a challenge from Scraptastic Inspiration, where I'm supposed to scrap using a song lyric as my title, and then use tags, and then use mixed media. So I'm like, well, I can't use Nuvo, and I can't use Miss. What am I going to do? So I'm going to break out my Kelly Creates Aqua brushes, my watercolors. I'm going to do a little bit of that. And then I'm also combining it, so like a three-fer. I'm also combining it with Rediscover Your Stashes challenge to use up stuff you have. And one of my goals in January was to kill my Vicki Boutin kit, because I plan on getting her new collection that's coming out. Not a ton of it, but a big chunk of it. So I plan on getting that, and I plan on killing all my Felicity Jane stash too. So because I have the new collection, I haven't even touched it yet, but I want to touch it. So I'm kind of doing a 3-for challenge. So yeah, I have to use some hoarded items that I always have, and so let's see how I can make this happen. All right, let's get started. I'm going to tell you right now, apparently phone died while I was filming this, so it only got so far, but I feel like you captured probably the coolest part of this process, if that even is a thing, and I will kind of show you the layout, the finished layout, and go through it when this is all done. But currently, needing for one of the other challenges to use tags, and so I'm going through the tags that came in the Wildflowers and Honey collection and with my pictures, and I'm going through them, not finding ones that are big enough. My pictures are tiny, but they're not that tiny. So kind of gave up, and I was like, you know what, let's try to figure out what I'm going to do for a background. And I thought about doing some, using one of those stencils for a little bit and doing some gel medium or something, but I ended up ditching that. And so now I'm just trying to figure out what the heck I'm going to do about these tags. So I pulled as many things out that I thought could be tags, and then started going through the scraps I had in the paper pad and found, hey, these are big enough that I could make tags. And then I decided to pick out a background. And I decided to go with this flower background, because then I could use my beautiful aqua brushes and just color in some pops of color. So stay tuned for that. Going through finding my tag die, the biggest one I have, because the pictures, if I trim them down just a tiny bit, the tags will be the perfect size. So making, and then trying to kind of create another tag out of some scraps and one of those pocket cards. So I'm just going to die cut a few tags using, I believe it's a Cartabella nesting tag dies that I have. And you're going to see me using my little die cutting machine a lot more, because I've been dying to get one, and so now I have one and I want to use it, which is good. So yeah, just doing that. When I started die cutting this one, I was noticing like it wasn't staying in place, so I finally realized, use some washi tape, tape it down. But so one of the 3 challenges that I'm doing, you're supposed to use tags, and 4 of them in your design. So that is what I'm doing, is creating basically 4 tags. So I die cut 2 out of scraps. I use a card and a scrap to make a tag, and then I create another card, make another card into a tag. So I use that tag I have in my stash as kind of a template for trimming the edges and then punching the holes in the 2 cards I create out of some of the pocket cards, or the tags I create out of some of the pocket cards. And I thought about using some of those like journaling cards as like a tag and journaling on it, but I ended up not. It was a good idea, but I really liked that Black and Craft card with the sunflower on it, and since I'm using the background paper that is flowers, I figured that would be appropriate. So yeah, just creating those tags right now. I'm just kind of re-gluing some things on my layout as I'm talking to you, and something just fell off, and I'm not sure where it fell off at. Oh, yes, and then I decided, well, I must ink everything. So I am inking. It didn't say we couldn't use ink. It just said we couldn't use Nuvo and mists, and we couldn't use stamping. So I'm not stamping. I'm just using my ink to go all around all the tags, even the ones I created, and then, yeah. So one of my hoarded items is collections, hence why I'm using a collection that I need. I love to buy collections, and then I don't use them all. I just only use a little bit, or I'm scared to start because I know it'll end, and so I don't use them. And within those collections and in my stash, I have tons of border strips or branding strips. So I figured I would use up some of those today as well. I like the idea of kind of framing it and then creating these little shelves for the tags to kind of hang off of. So I'm toying with the idea of creating like a multi-layered one and hanging them, and it looks too just crowded. I don't know. Something about it. I didn't like it. I like the idea of bordering my page with 2 strips, but they end up getting shortened and kind of like bracketing at an angle, which I end up really liking, and they become clusters. This layout becomes very busy, but I feel like very busy in a good way. I really like how it turned out. It just is way busier than I imagined it would be, but it's full of color, full of life, just like my niece, who is in the pictures. There's just 3 random pictures from this summer. So I decided to create these little shelves out of 4 different branding strips. And so I'm just inking all the edges of them. And before I start doing any using my aqua brushes and painting and any watercoloring, I'm going to put these down so I know exactly where they are going to go, and I'm going to punch the holes for my brads so I kind of have an idea where I'm going to figure out where my tags are going to quote unquote hang from. And then I'm going to watercolor, because that way I have that in place so I don't forget. So I have a good spot. Yeah, and like I said, so I don't forget, so I know where I want them to go. Because nothing I dislike more than like I figure out the way I want a layout to go, and I don't do anything to make sure it gets that way, and then after I do either Mixmania or something, and then I can't figure out how I had it when I really liked it. Sometimes I end up liking it more if I can't remember, but when I really like the way it looked, it makes me sad when I can't remember. So just inking everything. Sorry, I'm making you watch that. I don't end up inking the entire page because there's a little bit of mixed media like created on the background already that kind of gives it a border, and because I semi-border it with these half strips up in the top left and in the bottom right, I don't feel like it needs a border of ink all the way around. So I'm getting those down, trimming off the excess, and now I'm gonna hang my tags on their spots, and I really like the way that looks. And get some brads that have been in my stash forever. Or ever. Like, I don't even remember what they're from. They've been in forever. And I'm going to punch my holes. Or poke my holes, I should say. For those brads. Then, yeah. I'm going to get out my brushes. I'm going to get out like the turquoise color. I had to get this chipboard sheet just to make sure it kind of all matches the yellow, which is more of like a golden yellow, not a bright yellow. And I'm just going to start painting. And I kind of had, and I wanted to kind of spread it out and kind of accentuate certain spots, but at the same time, that didn't really matter. So I'm just doing some of the sunflowers. I'm realizing some of my leaves right now were not finished for some reason. And I get a little messy with it, and I don't stay super strict on staying in the lines. I just kind of want it to be pops of color, accentuated here and there, up in the left, kind of over on the right, and then down, and then over on, more so down the left to right. So I've got that diagonal design going, but then pops over here because I plan on having a little cluster over here. At the time, I don't really know where my title's going to go, but it's going to be a big one. So my niece's name is Cecilia, so I bet you're guessing right now what song title I'm going to use. Or what, not song title, it's not even song title, it's just lyrics that you have to use, but I bet you're guessing, because what song has Cecilia in it? Yes, Cecilia, you're breaking my heart. And that's mostly because she's adorable, and she's, oh, cat. She's my niece, and I love her, and since she's been here this year, this was her first year last year here. She was born last year, and it's just been a joy to have her. So, gonna watch me watercolor just for a little bit. I figured I'd leave this in. It's kind of fun. I am a crazy watercolorer. I don't do it well, but it's fun to watch in sped up mode. And I actually look like I'm doing well when I'm not. It's very messy. I'm not very good at it at all. And I'm just taking the aqua brush I have then too and kind of smoothing some of it out and filling in like little spaces, kind of making it watercolor out of space and kind of blend in and then fade and stuff, and just making it more messy artwork than anything. So just doing that. And yeah, and here in a second, I'm just going to show you what the layout looked like. Okay, well here is the finished layout. So you see I continued to watercolor a little bit, and then after I got my tags on and I hung them up with the brads and I got my photos on, I used a little bit of the washi tape to look like they were taped on. I did Miss Cecilia, You're Breaking My Heart, used up a bunch of stash items. These are the root beer float foam thickers, some just regular alpha stickers. I have like a sheet that's got like a handful of letters left, and I was able to do that. Use some puffy stickers from the Vicki Boutin collection kind of throughout. Did a lot of the bees, just because flowers. I love this wildflower, a flower of uncultivated variety of flower growing freely. I just love the little clusters I made. I covered up some of my boo-boos. This one not so much, but I love the just pops of color. Like I said, it's kind of a crazy layout. Pop some things up on foam, not a ton. Used up the rest of this branding strip that I used on a previous layout, or border strip. But used a bunch of my branding strips up. Used some stickers, used some thickers, used some puffy stickers. Used my dies that I'm always hoarding and buying more of that I don't use. But yeah, so I had a lot of fun creating this layout, and I'll show you some close-ups here. Thanks for watching. I'm sorry you didn't get to see the rest of the footage, but I hope you like it. You have to let me know what you think about crazy layouts like this that are so bright and colorful and just have a lot going on. But I thought it was really fun, and yeah, I hope you like it too. But at the same time, it doesn't matter. I'm just kidding. But thanks for watching. Bye.